Sucker Punch, an asylum, a brothel, and a reality by me. In 2011, Sucker Punch was released to harsh critics and a confused public. The film's director, the film was director Zack Snyder's fifth film and first original film. It stars Emily Browning, Abby Cornish, and Jenna Malone as badass women fighting to escape their situation. As previously stated, the film was met with harsh criticism, as most critics saw it as a fake feminist film. Consensus was it was a steampunk action film starring women in sexy outfits. But is there more to this underrated hidden gem? Yes, but between studio intervention and that limited creative freedom in the final product, audience were left unsatisfied. Snyder has stated that the movie was a commentary on the genre of action films and that it is open to interpretation. Today, we explored the film's true meaning and how it should have changed action movies but fell short, and how studio intervention has affected not only this Snyder work but all others as well. A director's rise and downfall. Before we discuss our titular movie, we should discuss the man behind the camera. Zack Snyder has directed and or produced 30 plus movies in his years, most in the superhero genre. He's best known for 300, Watchmen, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League. The last two movies should really catch your attention, especially if you are a comic fan. Unfortunately, Zack's movies seem to have a running theme of studio intervention. After gaining notoriety for his first films, Dawn of the Dead and 300, he was given the task of adapting popular comic Watchmen. The film had real promise until studio heads decided it was just a little too long and cut a whopping 35 minutes from the film. Unfortunately, this led to the original vision of Watchmen being warped and its original message even even leaving audiences confused with its original message. It also led to lots of hate for Snyder's movies and his directing style. Today's film unfortunately received the same treatment and led to its harshly reviewed theatrical release. A summary featuring dragons, robots, and Nazis. Our film opens with stage curtains to reveal Baby Doll, played by Emily Browning, on a bed crying, alone on a stage. A sequence set to the cover of Sweet Dreams Are Made of This reveals that Baby's mother has died, and it is implied that Baby's stepfather killed her. Upon discovery of the mother's will, the stepfather has been left out, in which the stepfather has been left out, he decides to attack the girls. Baby Doll fights back, but in the struggle, her sister is killed. In an effort to cover up his abuse and the murder, he has Baby committed to an asylum and pays an orderly to have her lobotomized. Another sequence shows Baby's life in the asylum until the day of her lobotomy. Just as the needle is about to hit her eye, the record stops and it is no longer Baby in the chair. We are introduced to Sweet Pea, a stripper performing a dance that ends with her stopping the fake lobotomy. This is our intro to the brothel, which is how Baby sees her time in the asylum. In this scene, we officially meet Blue. He is the club owner and corrupt orderly. Rocket, Sweet Pea's little sister, and we are told about the High Roller, who is the lobotomy doctor, coming to buy Baby Doll's virginity. As Baby Doll adjusts to life in the brothel, she saves Rocket from the cook who is trying to assault her. Our first dance slash battle sequence is performed after Madame Gorski tells Baby Doll that this is how she survives. Dancing. It's her way of escape. The dance world is a separate world from all of it. And her first dance, she comes across a temple where she is told by the old man that she needs 5 things to be free: a knife, a map, fire, a key, and a great sacrifice. Different dances set off fights between Baby Doll, her companions, and different monsters, such as dragons, robots, and zombie Nazis. Her dances have a way of memorizing people watching. So she comes up with a plan. She recruits Rocket, Sweet Pea, Blondie, and Amber to help them all escape. Over the course of 3 days, they collect the items successfully until they have to collect the knife. An accident with the radio and the chef's reaction ends with Rocket being stabbed and killed. Blue, our club owner, comes across the scene and, in anger of being betrayed by his girls, kills Amber and Blondie. As he tries to assault Baby, she stabs him and rescues Sweet Pea so they can escape. As they escape the asylum, they come across a final guarded gate, and Baby realizes that only one of them can really be free. So she sacrifices herself to allow Sweet Pea to escape. And as Sweet Pea escapes, we cut back to the asylum where Baby's lobotomy has been completed. And after this, Blue's corruption is uncovered, and we get a small sequence of Sweet Pea escaping on a town bus. And what does this all mean? Whose story is this really? Snyder has said that the meaning of this is up to audience interpretation. However, he made it very clear to the public that this was meant to stir them up. The selling and over-sexualization of women were done on purpose to explain to fanboys the consequences of their action when they over-sexualize female characters. The overt toxic masculinity of the stepfather and Blue, who saw the women as property, things that they owed. The women who acted in the film felt that they wanted to convey this message. They were very comfortable on set and never had an issue, and even defended Snyder's film in the years that followed. But the overall message was for the women who were watching, spoken by Sweet Pea in the end narration. She says, "Who decides our fate? Who holds the key? It's you. You have all the weapons you need. Now fight." Women are often told we are responsible for fighting for our freedom no matter the sacrifice. And while this is something we try to change, this is something that hasn't yet to change. So this is every woman's story, a message of hope, to keep fighting even if we don't want to. But in regards to the film itself, this is Baby's story. Baby Doll was an abuse victim, as were all of the other girls in the asylum/brothel. And just to explain, none of them were ever actually in a brothel. It was a very simple way for Baby to process what was happening to her. As I mentioned, the high roller was a representation of the doctor performing her lobotomy. Blue was a corrupt person who was in charge of everything, so he was in charge of her day and the actions that were forced on her. Madame Gorski was her therapist, and her dances were really therapy, her way to escape. And the old man in her dances was her guardian angel, the person who helped her be her inner voice in her head. When Sweet Pea and Baby Doll escape, Baby realizes the only way for her to be free is to actually forget everything that happened to her. While this has been met with fair criticism that this isn't a healthy way to deal with trauma, a lot of people can agree that if they could forget everything, they might feel a little better. But at this moment, Baby decides that this is the way for her to accept her fate. A deleted scene with the high roller shows a conversation that explains that he wants a true connection, a reason to keep doing this, a reason to see why he's wrong. And she offers this to him, a reason to see why what he's doing is wrong or right. But it's up to you to decide what it was. The ending was very bittersweet, and not everyone accepted this. Now, let's discuss the real effects of intervention and how to kill a franchise. Our final point. Why did this amazing film flop, and would it have been met with the same criticism today? In short, critics didn't understand what Snyder was trying to say. And before rewriting this, and as much as I love this movie, I don't blame them completely. While I'd like to believe if the film came out today, it would probably stand a better chance in the age of women superhero movies, the truth of studio intervention is it still could have flopped. After SuckerPunch, Zack continued to direct. He began to work with Warner Brothers and was signed on to direct Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League. Batman vs. Superman was struck with so much studio intervention that the final product ended up being a mess. Studio cut 10 minutes that helped the film actually make sense. And instead of going back and fixing their mistake, they decided to ignore the fact that the movie had overall failed and rushed into production of JLA. Unfortunately for Zach, he did have to leave the film due to family tragedy, but the studio was more interested in making money and continuing than waiting for the original director who had promised fans a great film. They enlisted Joss Whedon, who directed a terrible film that flopped all around. After a huge campaign and 3 years, Zach was able to finish his work. However, the new film was a hit, but rather than make literally everybody happy, the studio decided to drop Snyder completely and continue with Joss Whedon, who has multiple sexual assault allegations and has fired half of the cast due to problems on set. The studio lacks respect for its directors, and it has shown it time and time again, as Zach's works continue to be met with this intervention while other directors don't have this same issue. Studios seem to be more interested in making money than allowing creative freedom, which is why we see more remakes than original films in theaters nowadays. While Sucker Punch remains a forgotten film, I believe that it was truly a film ahead of its time, and I would encourage you to watch it and support all directors' visions. The end. Did it record, Harriet?
Yeah, it did. I just wanted to I wanted to give you a round of applause before I ended it.